Hey everybody, today we're talking about what the heck an Enneagram is and can it help you foresee problems before you start planning your wedding. This may be old news to you guys, but I had no idea what an Enneagram was until somebody asked me my number. And once I heard about that and they kind of explained it to me, I went online and started doing some research. And essentially what an Enneagram is it's a personality quiz. In its simplest form, it's a system for classifying personalities into one of 9 basic archetypes that you identify with that are established by your worldview and how you interact with the world. There's a bunch of tests, both paid and free, that you can take that'll help tell you your number. Now, the one that I took was paid, and I got a really long 42-page report. It's super interesting, but it was also kind of expensive. So you can go online and check it out. I'll link the one that I took below. They're not a sponsor. I just thought that they offered a really good product. So what does wedding planning look like for your number? Now, first off, disclaimer, I am not a psychologist, I am not a psychic, I am not any combination of the two, so take it for what you will. It's just me kind of projecting my thoughts into this process. So if you're a 1, you're the reformer or the strict perfectionist. 1s are rational to a fault with a strong sense of right and wrong, and perfectionism runs in their blood. So in wedding planning, you are very likely to stay in budget because you're not going to rationalize excessive purchases for the reason of aesthetic or just because you want something. You know exactly how every detail at your wedding should be executed, and if somebody starts acting foolish, you're going to be the first one to tell them. Number 2, if you're a 2, then you are the helper. You find fulfillment and being of service and of support to other people. So you're going to facilitate everything you can and make it as easy as possible for the people who are participating in this with you, especially the people that you love, right? Family, friends, wedding party, things like that. The problem you're going to run into, or you could run into, is that if somebody doesn't show the appropriate amount of gratitude, you could end up feeling really underappreciated and it can start transforming into bitterness. So just kind of keep an eye out for that. 3, the achiever. So if you're 3, then you're going to be very action-oriented, very driven, and very image-conscious. If you're going to do this, you don't want a good wedding. You don't want people walking by and say, oh, that wedding was good. You want the best wedding. You want them to know that there was time and money and talent invested in this event and create kind of a status symbol, whether or not you'd like to admit it that way. You're more likely to sign on for things that are going to give you that wow factor so that you can deliver that status to your guests. 4s, the individualists and the creatives. So you guys take pride in being unique, and your wedding is not going to be any different than you. From 4s, we can expect a big burst of personality. So lots of bold color palettes, alternative venues, and unique ceremonies that you wouldn't see at other places. 5s. So you guys are the investigators, and you are super private by nature. It's totally possible that you guys would rather do an elopement than a wedding at all because you don't like being the center of attention. You'd much rather sit back and observe and just kind of read and take in the environment, and that's actually going to help you a lot later. If you can suck it up and be a part of that center of attention, it'll help you because if anything comes up in the wedding planning process, logistically, you are going to be able to take a step back, review all the facts, and then provide a well thought out and completely developed solution. So number 6, you guys are the loyalists or the skeptics. As a 6, you guys are naturally inclined to sniff out all of the possible ways that the wedding could go wrong. Now that's beneficial to you because you can make arrangements so that that doesn't happen, but I don't want you to get caught up in the details and be overwhelmed by all of the possibilities because you can't solve everything. And sometimes you just gotta fly by the seat of your pants day up. You guys are also inherently loyal, and you will defend the people who have earned your loyalty to the very bitter end. Nobody is allowed to call your future spouse a bridezilla except for you. Number 7, the enthusiasts. You are likely to get caught up and just spontaneously book services that excite you without thinking about how they affect the overall vision and budget. So if you have somebody who's a little bit more balanced that can take a step back and give you some feedback without stifling your creativity, because nobody throws a party like a 7, fun comes naturally to you guys. But having somebody to bounce ideas off of can be really helpful so that the event doesn't feel scattered when everything's said and done. 8, the challenger or the active controller. You guys are my people. I am an 8 and I completely understand where you're coming from. So 8s, we have a very direct method of communication, right? And we don't like having our time wasted, and we're not gonna waste yours. You have a vision for the bigger picture and you know exactly how you want that executed. And it can be hard because control is the main word here, right? We wanna be in control. But once you find somebody that you trust and that you think is capable, you'll actually be okay handing over the reins. And that's why a lot of 8s, if they work with a planner, do pretty well as long as their planner is reliable. But 8s, you guys need to be so careful. We need to be so careful of the way we talk to our loved ones and our friends during this process, because we don't mean it and we don't hear it ourselves, but sometimes we come across as really sharp and it can hurt people's feelings. So we need to be more conscious and more gracious in the way that we talk to people, because our direct nature can be really abrasive sometimes. Number 9, the peacemaker. You are diplomatic and adaptable, and one of the hardest weddings to plan because you want to please everybody, and the truth is with weddings you can't. So sometimes you'll lose track of what you actually want in the process of trying to keep the harmony. My 9s that I've had in my experience have easily stalled in the planning process because they feel like their choices and their decisions are upsetting people and causing issues, and so they'd rather just not make the decisions, and that causes a lot of delay in the planning process. So it's really important to come in with a clear vision of what you want, and you can make concessions for other people as long as they're within reason and that you're still staying true to the vision that you planned for your wedding. That's it. So the thing to me about Enneagrams is they kind of read like horoscopes. Like if you are open to it and you're looking for something to relate to, you're gonna find it, right? But as a wedding planner, I work with so many different personalities that it's extremely valuable that if something is going to offer feedback and allow me to effectively communicate with my clients, I'm at least willing to hear it out. So let me know in the comments what you thought about my interpretation of your number and the wedding planning process. If you like this video, go ahead and give me a thumbs up and hit the subscribe button if you want to see more of me in your feed. See you guys later.